Hey, it's me! Remember me? Your old pal Stitchman? Did you miss me? You missed me. You missed me.
Baby, you're a Stitchman. Baby, you're a Stitchman. Baby, you're a Stitchman too. Woo-hoo.
Did you like that? Did you like Kaylee singing my song? Or do you prefer the soft, mellow version that Jacob sang for me? No? Nobody likes that? Nobody, that's a resounding no. Nobody likes Jacob better. Or do you prefer the old classic, your old favorite, standard, greatest of all time, your favorite of all time, best singer on Flosstube, me? Me? Do you like me when I sing my own song? Tell me. Tell me how much you love it. Tell me how much you love me. I've been away for way too long. I've missed this. I need all the praise. Tell me how much you miss me. Tell me how much you love me. Well, I figured at the very least in this new era of Stitchman, maybe we could at least update it a little bit. Maybe we could all even sing it together. Would you like that? Do you want to have a sing along right now? Here, check this out. Look at this. Look at this. What is this? What happened to the ukulele? Ukulele is a thing of the past, man. This is the future. It's time for something new and improved. Baby, you're a Stitchman. Baby, you're a Stitchman. Baby, you're a Stitchman too. Woo-hoo-hoo. New and improved. Stitch Lady Melissa is upstairs working right now. She has a work from home job, and she just came through where I am to heat up her coffee, and she asked me, "Are you crying?" She could hear me singing. She's like, "It sounded like you were crying." No, I wasn't crying. I was emoting. That's what great artists do. Well, how's it going? What's going on? Tell me all the things. How's everybody been? What's everybody been doing? I haven't made a video in almost 4 months. That's a long time for me. That's the longest break that I've ever taken. I know that's a pretty standard break for like some other Flosstubers who don't make a big deal about, taking a break. That's just what they do. But I make a big deal of everything I do. So it's a big deal. Look, 4 months, it's a big deal. I'm back. Isn't this exciting? Aren't you glad? I'm just excited to be doing this again. I missed it. I missed you. I missed sitting here. I missed staring at my face, speaking back to me on the screen right now. I missed acting like a jackass. I missed talking so fast that you can't understand me. I'm just bursting. I'm bursting with so much that I need to get out that I can't. It's coming out of my gut and it's getting stuck in my throat. And isn't this fun? Isn't this so much fun? Chill out, Stitchman. Take a breath. It's gonna be okay. I guess one of the biggest Flosstube things that happened since I've been gone, and you all know by now, it's old news by now. But Chris came back. That was very exciting. I was excited to see Chris back because, like, I'm not gonna lie. I was worried about the guy. I was really worried about him. Even though I did get a hold of him a couple of times during his absence, and each time he would tell me that I shouldn't be worried about him. But that's exactly what somebody would say if you should be worried about them. So I worried about him. But I'm glad that he's back. I'm glad that he's okay. I'm glad that he's settled into his new life on this side of the continent. He's in for a big surprise come wintertime compared to what he's used to in California. Let me tell you something. Grab those boots and that shovel, Chris, because you don't know what you're in for. Look, here he is right here. I think I'm just gonna keep him right there for the duration of this video. Not because it's related to anything that I'm gonna be saying or doing, but like it's just a comfort thing. I like to know that he's there. I feel like I need to keep an eye on the guy. I feel better knowing that he's there. So we're just gonna keep him right there. So has everybody been having a good time? Has everybody been having a good summer? Has your summer been as miserable and disgusting as mine has been? Oh, it's been like...
I don't know why I'm spitting so much
It's worse now than it was
if you get
in July.
hit by
I know
an
I'm wearing a
errant
sweater right
loogie,
now, but you're still not even sweater weather. Like, why am I still turning on my air
wipe off
conditioner
the front of your
in
TV
October?
screen
It's fucking
or
October.
monitor. Anyway, enough
why
of
am I
that
still
silliness.
sweating my
Hi,
balls off and turning on
how
my air
are you?
conditioner? I feel like I've been
I'm
robbed.
Chris, and I'm so glad to have you here with me today. I've got a big day. It's going to be a fun day.
Okay, I thought it was going to be comforting to have him over my shoulder like this, but it's actually just kind of annoying. Sorry, no offense, Chris, but you're going to have to go now. I'm going to have to, I gotta make him go away somehow. Where's my Chris swatter? Here it is right here. Let's see if this works. Ready? Did I get him? Did I get him? Got him. All right, come on, let's get serious. It has been 4 months since the last time I did this. I know that's not a significant break that most people would even make a big deal about it. I know plenty of other floss tubers take even longer breaks than that and just don't even mention it, but I make a big deal about everything that I do. So it's a big deal, right? Let's pretend it's a big deal. It is the longest break that I've taken for me since I started floss tubing. And so for me, it was significant because I did miss it. I missed all the interaction, and I missed the comments, and I missed telling you what I was up to, and I missed all the love and the praise, and that's really what it's all about, right? I just need my ego stroked. I couldn't take it anymore. I need you all to just collectively get together and tell me how much you love me. Tell me how much you love me. I'm like a dying flower, and your love and praise is my water and sunlight. I need it or I'm going to die. So tell me how much you love me. Tell me how much you love me. It was nice though. It was a nice break, I have to admit. First of all, it's hard for me to make videos in the summertime anyway because everybody's home all the time and I don't really have anywhere else to go to do it. So it's just hard. It's hard to do it when everybody's home. But also, it was just nice to. I was getting burned out a little bit. I'm sure you could tell. I needed a break, and I'm sure you were getting burned out on me too. A lot of you burned out a long time ago. I'm sure the break was as much for you as it was for me. Like, why are you even back right now? 4 months is not long enough. Come back next year, Stitch Man, or don't come back at all. It was also nice to not feel the normal pressure that I can sometimes put on myself. To, start to feel like, well, it's around the time that I probably should be making a video, but I haven't really worked on enough things to make it worthwhile. So sometimes I'll work on things that I don't really want to be working on just for the sake of having more stuff to show. And what kind of bullshit is that? Why do we, I'm not the only one that does that. Why do we do that? That's stupid. That's completely backwards. It's a completely backwards way of doing it. We just do what you want to do, show people what you did. And if they want to see it, they'll watch it. If they don't, then go fuck themselves, right? And I'm sure, even though it was probably a nice break for you to be away from me, I'm sure on some level, if you dig down deep and do some soul searching, I'm sure that, those times when you're sitting there and you're stitching and the cat's on your lap and, you're having a nice relaxing evening, it's not quite the same unless you're interrupted every so often by something like
shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.
Right? You missed it. You missed me. If you're not panic scrambling to turn your volume down real quick because your kids walked in the room while I'm off on some crazy rant, something's missing, isn't it? Something's missing from the whole experience, right? Right?
Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.
Nah, you thought that was going to be Jimmy Stewart, didn't you? Nah, no. This is Stitch Man 4 months in the future. This is a whole new era. There's no Jimmy Stewart anymore. There is no Jimmy. There is only Zool. Okay, how much time now have we wasted not talking about stitching? 10 minutes? 10 minutes at least. We can handle a little bit more, right? You can handle some more. It's been 4 months. Give me a break. I got stuff to talk about. So it's October. I'm happy about that. All the kids are fully settled back into school. My youngest son, Dylan, started kindergarten. Kindergarten! What the hell? You know when I started floss tubing, he was only one. He was one. This many. One finger. And now he's off riding the bus to school. What the hell? And we've got a kid in middle school and we've got a kid in high school. Everybody's just growing up way too fast. Except me. Thank goodness. Me. I made it to 12 pretty quickly, but then I kind of just stopped and hung out there for the next 28 years. It's nice. It's great here. It's, farts are funny, boobs are awesome, Fruit Loops are delicious. Why? Who's in a hurry to move on from this? Not me. So although I may be mentally 12, I do in one month from now, actually a little bit less than a month, I turn 41 years old. I'm not happy about that, but I am happy that means that soon after that, it's full-on legit Christmas season. I am actually kind of considering it Christmas season right now. There's Christmas decorations in the store. Everybody's in a festive mood. I know it's still October. It's Halloween season, but come on, it's Christmas season. There's no such thing as Halloween season. It's Christmas season. My last video, the last time I was sitting in front of this camera, was a half Christmas celebration. It was in June, and we were only halfway to Christmas, and now we're there. We're there. That's how fast it comes. We're not halfway there anymore. We're there. It's yippee-ki-yay season, motherfuckers.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
All right. Enough is enough. I've tortured you enough. We've got actual stitching things to talk about today. I even wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. Great, right? I've got a couple of new designs to tell you about that I'm really excited about. I've got progress, big progress on some big whips that you're desperate to see, right? Desperate to see them. What else? I've got a fully finished item that I actually finally like framed and hung something on my wall, fully finished. And spoiler alert, it's over my shoulder right now. What else? What else we got? I even have a giveaway at the end of this video. Now, giveaway. let's not get too excited about that. I'm gonna get you excited about it by like telling you not to be excited about it, because I don't know if anybody's even gonna want it. It's just stay tuned. Stay tuned for something that you're definitely not gonna want. How's that for enticing you to keep watching?
Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.
Okay, for real, I've got one last not really stitching related thing to tell you about that maybe you won't even care about. I'm sure you won't even care about, but I have to get it out, and Melissa won't listen when I talk to her about stuff like this, so you're stuck with me. So one of the main things that I do, we all know this if we've been watching for a long time, we, including me. Do I watch my own videos? Yeah, I do. I'm my own favorite FLOSSTUBER. One of the things that we all know if we've been watching these last 3 years is that I like to watch ASMR videos while I stitch. I love ASMR. And a lot of people who don't watch ASMR, when you try to describe to them what it is, it sounds kind of icky and like a fetishy kind of thing. And it's like, it does sound weird when you just try to describe it, but it's really hard to tell people that it's not weird. It's not what you think it is. It's like, it's for relaxation. A lot of people use it to actually help them fall asleep. I stitch to it. It like helps me zen out and like chill out while I'm stitching. I love it. It's relaxing. It's great. It's not weird. And it's not fetishy, and it's not anything that you think it is. However, I did somehow, and let's not delve too deeply into the somehow part of this. Let's just leave it at somehow. I somehow found myself going down this rabbit hole of ASMR and ended up on the dark side of ASMR, where that stuff turns out actually is out there. Maybe I was just naive about it, and like I don't know, but that stuff that everybody thinks is like ew, gross. This is so icky, and this is so disgusting, and this is so perverted. That stuff is out there, and I found myself fully immersed in it. And it is like, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it right now because I don't want you to start gagging and turn off my video. But there is some weird stuff out there. There is some weird, wild, dark side of ASMR kind of crazy shit out there. And I was just like, oh my goodness, where's the subscribe button? I cannot subscribe to this fast enough. All right, enough dicking around. We've got some real actual stitching things to talk about. Let's talk about them. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. You think I would have practiced a little bit, especially after 4 months? You think I would have practiced or planned out a few things that I was supposed to be saying, right? Nope, not at all. Not even 1 little bit. So we've got 4 options that we can start with here, and I'm going to let you choose. This is a choose your own adventure FLOSSTUBE. Something different. First, we could talk about me. Second, we could talk about me. Option the third, we could talk about me. Or fourth and final option, we could talk about me. I'll give you a minute to decide. Oh, you want to talk about me? Okay, we can do that. Me. First up, I designed and fully stitched one of my own things that has become one of my favorite things that I've ever done. And I'm going to show you right now. Here it is, right here. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you recognize it? Do you recognize that quote? Do you? Do you? You should, because why? Because it's from a movie. You know that I wrote 4 pages of notes for this thing? But do you think that I wrote down one thing that I should actually say once the camera is turned on? No, I didn't. So this is important beyond just the the self-promotion aspect of, hey, look, I did a thing and it's in my shop and you should go buy it because me. I mean, forget that. I mean, don't forget that. but much more importantly than that, this has become an important stepping stone in the like life of Stitchman stitching, because this is the first thing that I ever stitched on linen. This is linen. Look at that. Linen. Linen. I ripped it right off my bed. I wrapped myself in it and I got out my floss and I started stitching it. Linen. What an unbelievably different experience it is stitching on linen versus Aida. And I know you all know that already because you do it, but I've never done it, so it's brand new again, right? It's so, I wouldn't have thought this, I wouldn't have thought that it would be that drastically different. A stitch is a stitch, right? But it was quite different. It took a little bit of getting used to. In fact, because it was so different, and because of the way that I always react to things that are different, my initial reaction to it was the same as it always is with new different things. I hate it. I hate it. I don't like it. I'm not continuing. I hate it. It's garbage. Throw it out. I don't want it. But another thing that often happens, and happened again this time, I only got, I'm going to say like 20, maybe 30 stitches in, and I did a complete 180. And I said, you know what? I actually, not only do I like it better than Aida. It was that quick of a turnaround from this is garbage to this is my new favorite thing ever and I never want to do anything else. Linen is great. So this was stitched on 30 count pumpkin spice linen. And look at it. Just look, isn't it gorgeous? It is gorgeous. What the fuck am I doing? I'm glad that my first linen experience was on 30 count and not something smaller like 40 count or higher, or some of the crazy stuff that people do with their tiny stitches. Because 30 count took enough getting used to as it was. I'm just dead now. I'm just falling asleep. 30 count took enough getting used to, but it was similar enough to Aida that I knew how big the stitches were supposed to be. Like, it didn't take that long to get used to it, but I feel like if it would have been anything like 40 count or higher, I might have just given up and abandoned it and never gone back to linen again. Fuck this. I can't do this. This is ridiculous. I thought I was Stitchman, but I'm baby Stitchman. I'm not stitching on this fancy linen. Who do you think I am, Jacob? Oh, look at me, I'm Jacob. I like stitching on my linen. Tangent, by the way. Did you know that Jacob is in Canada right now? Canada. That's where I live. Canada. He's here right now. Didn't even stop to have a drink with me. Like, granted, he's 1,500 kilometers away from me right now. Canada's pretty big. But, like, you know, he would have had to fly over my province in order to get to Ontario. Didn't even parachute out. Come down and have a drink with me. I heard a plane fly over. I gave it the finger and everything. Didn't even drop in and say hi. What a jerk. I think we all know that it's because, deep down, Jacob's actually intimidated by me. He pretends to be, like, above it all, and, like, I know I'm the best, so I don't have to be intimidated by anybody, but we know that he is. He pretends to be everybody's friend, but deep down, he's actually Daniel Plainview.
I have a competition in me. I want no one else to succeed. I hate most people.
All right, tangent over. The greatest thing, biggest thing, great as in big, the biggest difference that was for me stitching on linen versus Aida that took a lot of getting used to was just how unbelievably frustratingly easy it is to stick the needle in the wrong hole. Oh, grow up. Grow up! Listen, if you listen really close, you can hear all of my immature friends just cackling in the background. Listen.
You're a damn pedigree. All right, just get the hell out of here. I gotta go.
Yeah, that's right. Don't be fooled by these guys. I'm going to pull back the curtain just a tiny bit and give you a glimpse behind the scenes. These guys who seem so, proper and nice and everybody's, welcome to my neighborhood kind of thing, they laugh at these jokes way harder than anybody else does. That's why they're friends with me. And one other thing, as long as we're talking about me, don't forget that it's legit Yippee-Ki-Yay season again this year. If you missed out last year, It's still there this year. Don't miss out on your yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers. This is one of those things that's going to get passed down through the generations. When you get older and you're going to pass this down to your grandkids. Oh, look, Nanny did a nice little stitching for us. What does it say? It says, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Merry fucking Christmas. Huh? You can do this one too. Give this one to your grandkids. This might be a good opportunity before I show you the things that I actually stitched on to give you a closer look at the thing that I fully finished, framed, and hung on my wall, because you've been staring at it this entire time. Right there. See? And I know you want a closer look, right? Don't you? Okay. I'll get up off my ass and I'll give you a closer look. All right, I'm trying to find a spot where it's not so glare heavy. This is pretty good. Pretty good, right? Look, check it out. I have a thing that's actually hanging on the wall and not stuffed in a drawer. Pretty nice, right? And what we did when I first got this back, we hung it on the wall, but then decided like, well, maybe we should get like something to go with it, like a little raven or something like that. And that just spiraled into like a whole thing. So see if I can get this in here. We turned it into a whole shrine above my fake fireplace here on the mantle. We've got a whole, here, look, we got right beside Nevermore, we've got a sign that says Nevermore. We've got this cool looking Edgar Allan Poe thing here. We got this skeleton man, some Edgar Allan Poe books, Halloween candles, severed human hand, raven sitting on a skull with the word Nevermore. Love you to death. We've also got pictures of Melissa's mother and my father, who are both dead. So they fit into the wall of like, you know, darkness and spookiness very well. It's okay. They would think that's funny. Oh yeah, and these guys down here, little like garland of skeletons, it turned into a whole thing. Because, you know, once you do one thing, you have to do all the things. But this is what Nevermore looks like, all finished and all framed. It's the first thing that I've actually, you know, properly professionally framed in a very long time. Quite happy with it. I think it turned out really good. And I think it looks good on my wall. Don't you?
Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.
The only other thing that I have to tell you about that is when I took it in to get framed, it seemed to be taking a long time. I don't know what's a normal turnaround when you take something in to get framed, because I'm used to a pretty quick turnaround, and this was taking weeks and weeks and weeks. So like I didn't want to hassle the guy, but I did go in just to check on it. And when I went in, I saw it sitting there on his work table, like in progress. So at least, okay, he didn't lose it. He didn't ruin it. He is actively working on it. Okay. And then I looked over behind the cash register, and the dude was sound asleep in a chair, just snoring away. It's like, well, I came in and I got my answer. Like, what's the point of waking the guy up? I mean, some people did suggest to me like later, like, well, maybe you should have woken him up so that like he didn't get robbed or something. I didn't think of that. I just saw a guy happily napping away, and I thought, oh, I wouldn't want somebody to wake me up. I got my answer. I'm just gonna leave him there. So I did. Just left him snoring away. All right, on to the things that I actually worked on. The whips. Whips. First thing I worked on and finished after my last video was this little Christmassy ditty right here called For You by Plum Street Samplers. Look at that. Isn't it cute? It's got Santa, it's got a moose, it's got snowflakes, it's festive. You like it? Cute, right? This was one that I started as part of the Half Christmas celebration back in June. I started this with my friend and fellow Flosstuber Alyssa Jones. We picked a couple of Christmas things and we started them together. This was one of them. It was fun. It's a nice small little manageable thing. You could stitch this in no time if you had a full day to just sit down and stitch. You could probably stitch it in a day. It was fun. I liked it. I like these little things. I didn't use any of the called for flosses. I didn't have any of them, but I have enough of a stash of fancy floss now that I picked through it and picked some colors that I thought were close enough to what it called for, that I thought that I could make it look good with what I had, even though it wasn't exactly what the chart said. And I think I did a pretty good job. Don't you? These are all just Stitchman interpretations. But I think it turned out pretty good. Look at that. We also started this one as part of the Half Christmas celebration, and I got this far on it, which is not insignificant. It's decent, but And I love this chart. I love it, and I want to stitch it, and I'm going to stitch it, and I've had it in my stash for a couple of years now. Happy that I'm finally stitching it, enjoying it. However, now that I'm Mr. Linen, I've been corrupted by fancy linen, I just don't enjoy stitching on plain white fabric anymore. It's one thing if I'm doing full coverage, yeah, I probably would still use something like this because it's a little bit easier, and what's the difference? But if you're gonna see the fabric, I can't do it anymore. I still want to stitch this, but I'm gonna have to restart it on something a little bit nicer, a little bit fancier, a little bit more linen-y. I don't know what's happened to me. I don't like this anymore. Same with this. This is a little bit of a tangent, but this is one of my own designs that I started stitching, and I got pretty far, and it doesn't look bad. But again, I just can't get past like looking at this and going, I think I could pick a linen that suits this better and would look nicer. And even though I've got this far on it, if I'm going to finish it and I'm going to have it like forever as part of my, look years from now, this is part of my filmography. What's a stitchography? like a filmography, but with stitching. This is part of my bibliography, stitchliography. If I'm going to be looking at this and being disappointed years from now that like I could have done better, then now's the time to do better. I feel bad, and I don't think it looks bad, but I can do better. So I'm going to pick something better, and I'm going to restart it. I'm fully converted and fully corrupted by linen. And I blame all of you for that. Next up, let's time travel back, all the way back to 2022, and take a look at Jacob's mystery that's no longer a mystery stitch along, because I did quite a bit of work on that. And do you think that we should listen to the Trixie Tricycle song that she sang to go along with that first, or should we just dive into it? I think we should probably listen to the song first, don't you? It's a great song. Speaking of which, by the way, maybe I told this story before, I don't know. But whenever I use that song, I always get dinged for copyright. Like, not dinged as in like they'll still let me use it, but it's one of those like, we got our eye on you. We know what you're doing. We know that's set to the tune of a Beatles song because it's so close to the original Beatles song that it gets actually flagged as a Beatles song, which is always a little bit insulting when that happens, because if you notice, the theme song that I sing at the beginning of these videos, Baby You're a Stitch Man, that is also to the tune of a Beatles song. And I've never been flagged for copyright for that. I don't know why, because I think that's pretty close to the original. Don't you?
Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.
Two of us stitching Jacob's 2022 stitch along, taking turns with the stitching, stitcher switching. Who is working on the mystery cell, designed by our pal? It's a duet.
And here it is, finally, after all these years, I finally made it from one side all the way to the other side. Now, that other side is not actually finished yet, but I did make it all the way to that other side. And that feels like some kind of a giant victory for me, because I'm loving this, and whenever I pick it up and work on it, I love working on it. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, but man, does it feel like it's taken for fucking ever, and I really don't know why. I've been way into lately stitching these like little motify things. I almost just dropped my glasses. I've been way into stitching these like, these things that are like it's part of a. I'm sure there's a word for this. It's like there's a sampling of little things within the big thing. So it's a big project, but each individual little thing feels like its own separate project and its own small victory. And I have been way into that lately. It's like I'm doing like a sampling, if you will, of small individual things that come together to form a big thing. I'm sure there's a word for that. There's a word for that I had no idea what it meant when I first started making these videos. the fuck is a sampler? And how is it different from just like a pattern? Or is it just a pattern? And like, is there something about a sampler that makes it a sampler? What is that? I don't know what that is. But anyway, I've been way into that lately. I'm liking these like, you know, little things that come together to form a big thing. It feels victorious every time I finish something. It's like full coverage. As much as I love stitching full coverage, you can stitch sometimes for a long time. And I don't just mean like an evening or a couple of evenings. I mean like weeks or months. You can stitch for a long time without really, you just kind of have to trust that this is worthwhile, like part of the bigger picture here that eventually is going to turn into something spectacular. But you don't often see that kind of progress that quickly like you would with something like this. I can just take an evening and stitch this little guy right here, or these guys with the grapes, or like, you know what I mean? It's still got a long way to go, but I've already finished like what, 6 or 7 things. It's like 6 or 7 little finishes. I'm into it. I'm digging it. So I'm loving this. I'm loving working on it. I love seeing it done. I love seeing people's progress on it that are still working on it. Every time I see it, I love it. But at the same time, for some reason, this is taking me for fucking ever. At least it feels like it is. Like, do you remember back in 2021 when I started working on Fruits of Plenty? Fruits of Plenty, I was looking at it recently, and coincidentally, it's almost as if I knew I was going to talk about this or something. It seems like it's off the cuff and just off the top of my head. But look, I'm prepared, just in case for any thought that might pop into my head. Remember when I did Fruits of Plenty? Look at this. This is a fucking beast of a pattern. I was looking at this again recently and looking at the chart itself. This is a massive undertaking, which I didn't really appreciate at the time how massive it was, because I started it in July 2021 and I finished it in December 2021. In the middle of like raising kids and working on other things and doing a whole bunch of other things. I just blew through this like it was nothing. That's not nothing. I don't know how I did that. Let's all take a second to stand in awe of like how quickly I did that. I could not do that now. I don't even believe that I did that then. How did I do that? Point being that this one does not seem like that much or that big of an undertaking. But look, it's taken me how long now? 1.5 years to get this far? What's taking so long? I don't know what I'm doing. And it feels frustratingly like I've just been stitching the same thing over and over and over. Partly because, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I started this with a different color and got pretty like decently far into it, at least this far into it, and then didn't like it and restarted it with this Roxy Floss Royale Blue, which I'm glad I did. I like it a lot better. This is more what Melissa and I were envisioning. But, you know, so I stitched this and then I restarted and stitched it again. And then this side over here is very much a mirror of this side, not entirely, but kinda. So it just feels like it's been almost 2 years of stitching the same thing over and over. I'm finally now with this little turkey goblin here, whatever the hell that is, I'm finally getting into stuff that is different from like, you know, how many times can I stitch these grape dudes or like these flowery angels? How many more times? I'm done. I want to move on. I love it and I want to keep stitching it, but I want to move on from stitching the same thing over and over. Doesn't it sound like I'm having just the best time? I actually am. I love it. But enough already. Next up on the old web list, our old pal Chessie. Let's take a look and see what Chessie looked like 4 months ago.
This is what Chessie looked like last time you saw it. Darcy probably regrets asking me to do this.
And let's see if I can fit them all in here. This is what Chessie looks like today. Pretty good, right? Look, he's looking pretty spectacular. Don't you think? The end. That's all I have to say. So it's actually not as much as I imagined that I might be able to do taking the entire summer off. But I don't want to downplay, you know, it's a lot. Why am I being negative? It's pretty good. I did this whole thing here on the bottom. That's almost 2 pages. This little strip, and that will be page 12 and page 13. Completely finished it. Spectacular. So I'm stitching it the Jacob suggested way because Jacob knows everything and Jacob's in Canada right now and he didn't visit me, but he still knows everything. Everybody loves Jacob. I'm stitching this the Jacob's suggested way of this bottom strip here is pretty much just tree and background, which is kind of boring. And a lot of people suggested I shouldn't even do it. Just stop here and call it a day. But I can't do that. I need to do the whole thing. But Jacob suggested that because these pages are smaller and quicker victories, and I'll have something else to look forward to, do the bottom first. And then when I get back up here and finish Chessie, when Chessie's done, the whole thing is done. Good suggestion. Oh my God. Why does this have to be so big? Good suggestion. It's going well so far. That's what I am going to do. That's what I am doing. And that's what I have been doing. And this is what he looks like as of this moment. I also don't feel like I'm too far. Like, it's not like I'm on some kind of like strict timeline or there's some kind of punishment if I don't do what I say I was going to do. But when I started this in 2020, my unofficial goal was to finish this and give it to my son Dylan for the Christmas after which he turns 5. His birthday's in December. He'll turn 5, and that Christmas I'll give him Chessie. That's this Christmas. Not going to happen, but I think I could probably have it done for next year. I think that's a reasonable amount to get done in one more year. So I'm only a year off. Like, okay, I was going to give it to him when he was 5. I'll give it to him when he's 6. Considering everything else that I've done in the last couple of years in life and in stitching and in all the things that I've been doing, to be only off by a year in my estimation for finishing this, I think that's pretty damn good. One other thing I'll get you a little bit jazzed up for in relation to finishing this. Now, take this with a grain of salt, because we all know what I'm like when I say that I'm going to do something. There's a very, very, very good chance that I'm not going to do it. But my unofficial plan at this moment is when I get close to the very, very end and I'm actually going to finish Chessie, I'm going to try to work up the nerve to have a few beers, turn on my live YouTube camera stream, and I'm going to finish him live with everybody. For everybody that stuck with me for that long, it'll be 4 years at that point, going through this like, oh my God, it's Chessie, Chessie, Chessie. Every time we have to watch him, it's Chessie, Chessie, Chessie. And Chessie's going to be over and done with him. We're never going to see him again. So when it comes time to finish him, let's go live and finish him together. What do you think? Sound like a plan? We'll see if that happens when the time comes, but as of right now, that's the plan. One last thing that I worked on since the last time you saw me is actually a brand new start. It's Halloween Quaker by Lila's Studio, which I'm sure you're all familiar with and you've all seen a bunch of times, but you've never seen it being held in these hands before. And since I don't have a what did it look like last time, because it didn't exist last time, we might as well just skip the whole thing and just dive right into it, what it looks like this time. Doesn't that sound like a good idea? I think that sounds like a good idea. Do you think it sounds like a good idea? Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Who am I talking to? I don't know. Here's what I've done so far with Halloween Quaker. And isn't it just the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen in your entire life? Isn't it just the gorgeousest? Look, isn't it gorgeous? Look, let's just take a minute. Let's just take a minute to just look at it. We don't have to hear talking. We don't have to have commentary. I'm going to do it anyway because I can't take the silence. I don't have to say anything, but I'm still going to say things about how I don't have to say anything. In the meantime, you can just look and enjoy at how gorgeous this is, because isn't it gorgeous? It is gorgeous. That looks like the shadow of something very inappropriate, but that's my microphone. This is being stitched on 40 count linen. It's called Billie Jean. It's 40 count linen from Evertote. Billie Jean. Did you like that? Did you like that? 40 count linen, 1/2. That's only one strand of floss right there. Look, let's see if we can get close enough that it'll focus. Probably not. Maybe if I knew what I was doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. 40 count linen, 1/2. One strand of floss. That's only one strand of floss. I'm not used to stitching with just one strand. I've always used 2 strands, but okay, it's really super fine. It calls for being stitched with just one strand. I'll go with the one strand of floss. And like, I'm really impressed, not only with how much I'm enjoying it, but like how good it looks and how well it fills out and covers the thing. You know what I mean? One strand. Is your mind blown right now? That's only one strand of floss. And I am also stitching this with all of the called for fancy Classic Colorworks flosses, and I love them. They're beautiful. They're going to look beautiful on this. Fun to stitch with. Going to look great. I'm loving it. I love everything about this. It's fantastic. Isn't it just the fantasticest? Look. Although I am glad, as I said before, that I didn't start out with this 40 count linen as my first linen experience, because I probably would have just given up and never gone back to linen again. See, I knew I was going to hate linen, and I do hate linen, and I'm never doing it again. Because stitching on 40 count linen, even for a super professional like me, the professionalistest of the professionalistists, 40 count linen is no fucking joke. It is not the easiest thing to be stitching on. It's very easy to make a mistake. Unless you're a professional like me, the professionalistest. No mistakes here! But had I not had my 30 count linen experience first and then moved up to this, I probably would have been really, really frustrated. Like, who would ever choose to do this? It's just so frustrating. Yeah, it looks good, but like, it's not worth it. But it is worth it. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I never want to do anything else ever on anything else with anything else. Never. I did make one minor little change to this. I actually don't know how minor it is. Maybe it's major, and hopefully I don't regret it. But this motif right here, and there were a couple of others coming up too. The called for floss for that was this. It's called Smoke. And holding it up like this to the fabric, it actually seems kind of reasonable, and like, yeah, that's still probably going to look good. But just using just one strand of it and, you know, getting it started, I stitched quite a bit of that with this Smoke floss, and it was just so close to the color of the actual fabric that it oddly blended in way more than anything else, like to the point where it bothered me enough that I ripped it out and used something else. As gorgeous as this floss is, and as much as I like it, and like, you know, it fits into the like when I see other people using it on their fabric, it's great. But it looked to me the way that it was going, that it was gonna just, I was gonna have a couple of holes almost. It's just so close to the color of this fabric. I couldn't deal with it. I ripped it out and I replaced it with Blackboard, which is this floss in the border of Nevermore here. I had a bunch of that left over. I like it. Shows up a little better. I hope it's a decision that I don't regret, because I'm going with it. What do you think? This is another one of those ones too, like I was saying before, how it's like all these little pieces. It's a big undertaking as a whole, but all these little pieces, a sampling, if you will, of each little motif, each feels like its own project and its own victory. And I don't know why I'm suddenly just like, it's not like I didn't know these existed before, but I'm just suddenly so into that. I like that. Like even this, like that was big. That was complicated. It took me a couple of days, but okay, a couple of days. A couple of days is not the same as a couple of years. And it feels that like each thing feels like its own small victory. I did this, and then I did the hat, and I did this, and I did this, and done. It's not just like a little piece of a great big thing that you can't even tell what you did. I can tell what I did. I did like 5 things so far, and they're all done. I am way into these right now. This one and the other one on orange that I showed you before, these have now ushered in a brand new era of Stitchman in which linen is king. Stay tuned. If you're going to stay tuned at all, stay tuned for a new future of linen. I'm gonna sleep on it. I'm gonna sleep with it. I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna knit socks with it, and I'm gonna stitch on it. I'm gonna do everything that you can possibly do with linen, because I don't know why it took me this long to discover it, or how this long to try it, or why I have just been ignoring it, but I love linen. Speaking of linen, now this leads into the quote unquote giveaway that I'm going to do right now. Last November, I started this right here from King Jacob. All are equal in death. And I love it. It's great. I was stitching it. I stitched it all in black. I stitched it on the oatmeal Ada that I was using for everything that I was doing at the time. Here, I've got it right here. Why don't I just show you instead of talking about it? Yeah, why not? How about I do that? Here it is right here. All are equal in death. Oatmeal Ada, black Roxy Floss, charcoal floss. It's really nice, really fancy. I love it. It's fun to stitch. Fits in with my wall of death here. All the things. It's great. I love it. And it's fantastic. But do you know what it's not? It's not linen. It's not linen. And I don't think I'm okay with that anymore. So my plan in the hopefully near future is to find a piece of linen that I think that this would look pretty fancy on. I'm going to even abandon the idea of just making it all in black for blank sampler. Blank sampler November. Welcome to Minnesota. I'm going to abandon the idea of doing it all in black. I'm gonna, if I want to do like I might have a couple of different colors on fancy linen, and I'm gonna redo it. I'm gonna restart it. I don't want to do this on this anymore. I just don't want to. It's not linen. So in what way is this possibly a giveaway? You may be asking yourself. Well, I was just thinking, for the sake of not just chucking it in the garbage, it's kind of a lame giveaway, because like it's like I don't have the chart to give you to go along with it. I might have some of the floss left with it, and if I do, I'll throw it in with it. But you'd have to like what I already did. You'd have to probably get some more floss and maybe even buy the pattern, or I don't know, maybe I could get it for you. I don't know. What do you want from me? I did not think this through. I've only had 4 months to think. That's not enough time for me to think. Anyway, my thinking is, for the sake of not just chucking it in the garbage, maybe somebody would want to adopt it from me and continue on. That's what I was thinking, because I feel like I couldn't do that anyway. Even if nobody wants it, I know, like, maybe who would want it? I don't know. Who's gonna want that? here's a quarter of a thing that's already stitched. You want it? Who would want that? I don't know. Maybe you want it. It's great. I'll send it to you if you want it. I'll send it to you. But I feel like even if nobody wants it, I couldn't just throw it in the garbage. I couldn't. I'm not gonna continue on with it. I'm not gonna keep doing this. But so what? It's just gonna sit there and like, just sit in a drawer. I'd rather, if somebody wants it, I'd rather send it to a good home where somebody's gonna, take care of it better than I would take care of it. Is that your home? Do you want it? You can have it. I'll send it to you if you want it. So I guess we should probably have some sort of a word or something to go along with this. You say this word leave a comment, say this word, and I'll do a random comment picker thing in my next video, and whoever wants it can have it with whatever floss I have and whatever else I can give you with it. I'll try not to make it so lame. I'll throw some other stuff in with it. I don't know, something. I'll do something. Here's the old something giveaway. What is it? What are you gonna give us, Stitch Man? Oh, something. So let's say death. Let's make the word death. Death. Tell me in your comments how much you love death, and this 25% of a stitched chart, it'll be yours. Great, right? Great. Death.
You might be a king or a little street sweeper, but sooner or later you dance with the reaper.
One more thing that I just wanted to show you again and bring up again, because I haven't used it in a long time, and I know we already, this was a whole saga and you've already seen it, but my fancy 5 compartments of all of my DMC, that's like a full set of DMC. Look at this. In case you haven't seen this before, look how gorgeous it is. It just spills all over the place. I haven't used this in a while, and I started using it again last night. I picked up one of my full coverages, and I started using this again. Chessie's a full coverage, but I have Chessie colors separate in their own separate container. So I don't use this for Chessie. And I've been stitching on samplers and other kinds of shit like that for the last couple of months. So I haven't used this for anything until last night. And I was reminded how pretty it is, how convenient it is, how much I love it. This was so worth the effort to get a whole set of DMC, bobbinate every single one of them. It was a lot of work, and look, they're all in order and they're all gorgeous, and it just makes it so much easier. If you're going to do something that has 100+ colors in it, it's just mind-bogglingly easier to do. It got me really excited to get back into some of my full coverages that I have abandoned over the last couple of months. I actually made quite a bit of progress. I did about 500 or 600 stitches. I know you're saying to yourself, well, why aren't you showing us if you did 500 or 600 stitches? Oh, I'll show you next time. But look, pretty, right? It's a lot of work, a lot of effort, but totally worth it. If you're ever frustrated by your floss storage system and you are okay with bobbins, it's worth the effort, trust me. All right, I think that's enough. Is that enough? Have we had enough? Feels like I've been sitting here for 3 hours. Probably feels like even longer for you. It's enough already, right? So unofficially, I don't like to declare things, especially on video, because it seems like every time I say something, I don't do it. But here's I'm gonna do that anyway. Here's my unofficial plan. A month from now is my birthday, and I've booked that entire week, week and a half even. It's 8 or 9 days I've booked off. So I'm sure within that time, since I'm going to be doing absolutely nothing else, I'll have made enough progress on stuff and be in the mood for another video a month away. So that's my unofficial plan. Man, sitting and talking is exhausting. That's my unofficial plan for my next floss tube. I'm also unofficially planning at some point in between that to start to branch out a little bit, and maybe I'll make a video that is a little bit unrelated to stitching, because I do have other hobbies and other things that I'm good at. And the last time I was doing one of these other things, I was, of course, providing commentary to myself the entire time I was doing it and cracking myself up. Starting to think to myself, why didn't I turn my camera on while I was doing this? Perhaps some of the people out there would enjoy this as much as the stitch buffoonery. You know, I'm not just a one-trick pony. I'm a two-trick jackass. There's other things I can do. So anyway, I know that's a little vague, and I don't want to like say what it is and get it all hyped up about like, you know, doing something else and then just not do it, because maybe I won't, but maybe I will. So there could be another video unrelated in a couple of weeks. There could be another floss tube in a month. I'll be a year older. I'll have gray hair and wrinkles all over the 41. 41? What the hell even is that? How can that be? Until then, it's been great. It's been great to sit here again. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had a fraction of the amount of fun that I did, because it was great to be back. It was good. It was good. It was fun. We had a good time. We had a good time today in the Stitchman neighborhood, didn't we? Didn't we have fun? It's good to be back. I'm happy. I'm happy to be doing this again. It was fun. I can't wait to do it again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the things. Check out my shop if you want. Check out all the people that I mentioned if you want. They're awesome. They're my friends. They need your love too. I need most of it. They can have some of it. This much of it. I get this much. They get this much. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Until then, until next time, keep being awesome. Keep being everything. Keep stitching. Keep doing all the things. And I'll see you sometime when I'm older.
Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.